Good evening, everybody. This is Gary Call. I'm an administrator at the Color Bar, and tonight we have a special program, our first Color Bar Live. It's a live webinar, and we're going to spend about 20 or 30 minutes together talking about the future of the industry with one of the very best experts and one of the very best soothsayers, really, that we have in our industry. He's been a great friend of mine for many, many years. And I'd like to introduce to you Gordon Miller. Gordon, if you want to take it over and run with it, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Gary, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with the Color Bar. Close to 4,000 members. I'm so impressed with this group and the purpose of the group and you know even the rules of the group. I'm not big on rules, but I love kind of that manifesto that opens up the group and gives guidance to all the members. I think it's just so on point and solid and just makes for a wonderful community experience. So kudos to all the members and to the leadership and Anthony. And thank you again to you for having me here tonight. So let me see if my controls are working here. Get myself going. And Gary, let's see. I am trying to move the slide forward. There we go. Okay, it might be a little wonky here. So we're here to talk about innovation, and as Gary kind of alluded, it's absolutely one of my favorite topics. We're in a world that's surrounded by change, and it seems like it's kind of never ending, and it's moving at a really fast pace. And in spite of all that innovation, my turn the slide thing here is not working as fast. There I come. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about me before we get started here. So for those who may not know anything about me, I've been involved in the professional beauty industry for 38 years as of next month, actually. I came in through the school side of the industry, worked in the weeds in schools in Colorado and Utah at the beginning of my career straight out of college. I'm not a hairdresser. I've never been a hairdresser or a salon owner, but I've been with you all since I was 22 years old. Fell in love with the industry. Fell into it by accident, eventually made my way to Pivot Point, then on to Milady Publishing, spent 11 amazing years at the National Cosmetology Association as executive director, some of the best years of my career, followed by even better years, I guess, which was as a consultant, now VP of Integrated Media, which is about social and digital, and as the publisher of American Salon magazine, the oldest trade magazine in the professional beauty industry, and a platform to share amazing stories, and that really is at the heart of what social and digital is all about. So I have a dream job, and I'm so excited to be here with you all tonight. And we're going to talk again about innovation, and this little chart is a kind of looks at the history of innovation going back to the 1400s, and you see the kind of that flat curve that takes us over the course of close to 600 years, 500 years, I guess, before it starts to make its way up. And we're now at a time where innovation is moving such a fast pace that you can barely keep track of it. And in the years to come, listening to thought leaders in this space as far as how technology is accelerating, how the things that we use to drive technology, the apps, the communal platforms, social and digital, they're changing so rapidly now that we can barely keep up with them, and predicting where it's all taking us has become almost impossible. Again, Gary, I'm having a little bit of trouble with. There we go. How do we react to all this? It's mind blowing, and it can be scary. It can be really scary, especially those of us who've been around for a while. Or if we have the right frame of mind and we look at things with a positive outlook and look at those things around us that are being impacted by technology, especially young people, young businesses, young industries, and see how they are empowering the world for positive change. I sit in my chair every day, and my dog and I, Cody, will do the happy dance, and because it's a great time to be alive, and it's a great time to be in this industry with all the tools that we have. These photos to me are kind of like proof points of what we've experienced over the course of, let's say, the last 5 years or so. Social media has been with us a little bit longer than that, but it really has taken off with the innovation that we've seen around mobile technology, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I look at these as kind of proof points, because people are always questioning: is this stuff real? Is it sustainable? Are the trends that we're experiencing, do they really matter? Are they flash in the pan kind of things? Especially as it relates to our world, the world of beauty, the professional salon. And these are three game-changing ideas right here on the screen. The first on the top left is what we've seen happening in the barbering community. And it's really fascinating. I first sat in a barber chair when I was 5 years old. Tony the barber in Long Branch, New Jersey. I used to love it when he put the vibrating thing on my head that they put on their hands. I don't even know what it's called, but it was like the best part of my every 2 weeks, which is how often my dad went to the barber. And we've seen the barber industry virtually collapse, especially in mainstream Caucasian community. Barbering has always been strong in our ethnic communities, but we've seen part of that kind of fall by the wayside. And social media has like supercharged it. And not only has it supercharged it and brought it back to life in parts of the market, but it's also kind of created bridges. And now we see, I just spent some time with John Mosley, a brilliant barber at Paul Mitchell The Gathering, had a deep conversation about this actually with three barbers. Fernie, the barber, who's really well known online, Jason Reyes, who's a great barber, and then also John. And we talked about how the cultures have come together, how these amazing conversations are happening in social media as well as in real time, how barbering events have sprung up all over the country. And again, as an old school kind of guy, we barely knew the barbers existed on the cosmetology side of the equation. And we watched, from kind of above with those of us who were interested in numbers, and we watched the number of barbers dwindle decade after decade after decade. We were down to something like 50,000 barbershops nationally, just a few years ago. Now in my neighborhood, there's been 4 new barbershops that have opened in the last 12 months, all of the kind of hipster variety, but also steeped very much in old barbershop tradition. So again, it wouldn't be happening without social media. Absolutely, you can just trace it back and see what's happened in social and understand it. Braids. I came up through the Pivot Point way, and I was with Pivot Point for my mentor Leo Passage for 11 years, and braids was something. It was fun. Hairdressers love it. It's special occasion hair. It's got its place. Now we see these amazing braids in the city of Chicago. Walking down the street. The manager of my Trader Joe's has these most brilliant, colorful braids that she wears every time I'm in the place, and she's always changing the looks. And it's a shift in fashion, and it's bringing services into salons, and it's certainly inspiring young hairdressers, and they are inspiring their clients. And social media is a platform that allowed that to bubble up and become a game changer and drive new services into salons. And then, of course, this is a color group, so you guys understand color way better than I'll ever think to understand it. But from the outside looking in and from a trend perspective, the whole revolution or evolution of Vivids and what they've meant both financially in the salon as well as what they've meant in the fashion world, and certainly what they've meant, I think, to the industry, economically, again, could all be traced back to social media. So big changes that we can see, very specific things that we can kind of hang our hat on and say that these ideas are very much real and they're happening. Pushing buttons. Okay, here we go. I love this quote. We are arguably headed toward a future in which we will have the knowledge and capabilities to make the impossible possible. This comes from a company called Deloitte, which that's their building on the bottom right. It's the smartest building in the world as it's been labeled. It's completely controlled by digital technology. In the bottom left, for those who may not be able to read it, it says the Internet of Things. And this is an idea. This is a movement in technology, and we have, of course, chips in our cars and our vacuum cleaners in my coffee machine, and we have there the driverless car. You see the hands out the windows. And that was like the Jetsons 30 years ago. Nobody thought we would ever have cars that could drive themselves, and it's predicted within 2 or 3 years you're going to see a lot of these cars, thousands, if not tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of driverless cars, which are proven to be safer than driven cars. So this is a massive change, and it will affect the salon because the smart building has all kinds of technological advances in it that allow the building to be more efficient, and you'll have the same, and we'll have more of the same things happening in salons, whether it's how our lights are handled by computers so they're smart, they know when we're there, when we're moving, whether it is water filtration systems, whether it's technology that influences how color is dispensed. All these things are going to be impacting us all even more and more on a daily basis. Artificial intelligence. If you got an iPhone, you know Siri. If you don't have an iPhone, perhaps you know about Google Now, where you can talk to your phone. We have text messages now. My 82-year-old mother, who has severe arthritis and who wasn't one who wanted to do a lot with her phone, is now completely engaged with her phone. She and her friends, her 80-year-old friends, want to go out for a great dinner. They're on Yelp. They're checking things out, and they're using artificial intelligence by way of Siri, by way of Google Now, to find things, to access information, to crawl around the web. And so, that's a barrier breaker that allows more people to engage, online in ways that are going to impact businesses, because, it's another way for people to find us. There we go. Okay. This is a fascinating one. This is e-commerce, basically shopping online. And there's a photo of drones. 2 weeks ago, I would have said to you, it's like, well, are we really going to see drones coming up to our houses and to our businesses? It's a cool idea. Maybe if we live on a farm in South Dakota, a drone will come by and drop off some seeds for us. I was just at Paul Mitchell, the Gathering, as I mentioned. I ran into a salon owner, meeting her for the first time. We were having a conversation kind of about this idea. And she said that she's from Baltimore, and just last week, for the first time ever, a drone delivered her supplies from Amazon. Paper towels, toilet paper, all that stuff, laundry detergent, came by way of a drone. Now, she said she's only 3 weeks from a Google warehouse, but they were blown away. A drone delivered supplies to the salon. It is coming, and it's a game changer again, because what this arguably, some of the thought leaders are telling us that one of the biggest expenses that businesses that sell things have is the physical space you need to inventory it and have it available for consumers. So by allowing things to come from a warehouse facility, and you can shop online, or you can shop in a smaller facility, again, a real game changer. Here we go. Okay, one of my favorites, virtual reality. Again, big changes coming. At the moment, we see it happening mostly in the gaming world and in entertainment, but there are gazillions of dollars, perhaps a slight exaggeration, a lot of money, being put into virtual reality technology for education. It's going to start at universities and colleges, work its way down into high school education and elementary education, and soon, I'm sure we're going to see it in the professional beauty industry, whether it's in cosmetology schools or whether it's manufacturer education, that is bringing us a new way of thinking about learning and thinking about technology. There we go. Okay. Mobile first. Apps. Whoops, I went too far. Can I back up, Gary? All right, I'm going to just talk about it. So here we go. Mobile first. Apps, email, websites, communities by way of our phones. The most powerful computers most of us own, are our phones. And those phones allow us to have access to pretty much anything and everything we can think of from an online perspective. So we don't have to be tied to a desk anymore. We don't have to, have a bulky desktop computer. In fact, many mobile computers are way more powerful and have access to way more tools, as in apps, which are predominantly built for mobile, than you're going to find on the desktop. So again, it's opening it up for everybody. The cost has come way down. It's an absolute revolution in technology. Mobile and cloud, another game changer. The cloud, which actually, by the way, the cloud is something that lives in buildings, typically out in the middle of nowhere. There's massive facilities that actually have servers on them, referred to as the cloud. But what that means is we don't need storage space on our devices. So again, it's allowed phones to be lightweight. It's allowed them to be smaller. And again, the thought leaders, those who are projecting forward what, the next things that are coming, they're seeing devices getting smaller. They're seeing devices disappearing. We already have the ability to project keyboards, to project data onto tabletops, onto sidewalks that are interactive, that you can literally type on the projection without needing the large, well, I'll say large device like a phone. So again, lots and lots of changes coming. And it's all about to get a lot faster. I mean, we are expecting the next 2 years to go from 4G. Most of us have 3G and 4G networks, which has to do with the speed of connectivity that we're all experiencing through our mobile devices. If you've ever traveled around the country and ended up in a spot where you're struggling, to get connectivity and the bars are shrinking, usually you're down to 2G or 3G, which can be very, very frustrating. If you're around my age, you remember back in the day, does anybody remember the old "You've Got Mail" from AOL? And we would open our mail. And then when we'd open our mail, we'd try to download something. It would make funny noises, and 5 minutes later, an email would open. And we'd be so excited. We would think that's really fast because we didn't have email that could download anything before that. Now we all expect instantaneous everything, and with 5G, it's even going to be faster. So, and again, the speed and the ability to get information, it just makes it all the more usable as businesses, as professionals, and definitely as consumers. Apps. Again, an absolute revolution. Many of us, especially young people, are used to having them because we've had them for a few years now. They're replacing websites and in many ways, and they are a big part of the future of technology, and they're growing leaps and bounds. There's literally millions of them. And for our industry, you know, and for as professional people, the productivity apps, the apps that allow for people to make appointments, the apps that allow you or a consumer to be inspired and to bring you photos. The apps that are communities, like Hairbrained. If you don't know about Hairbrained, I strongly suggest you check it out. Hairbrained with an ED on the end. .me is an app and a website filled not only with inspiration and filled with technical information, but filled with human beings, you know, who allow us to connect with one another, learn from each other. So again, apps are a game changer for all of us. Okay, connectivity. Everything we just talked about allows us to be connected. And by virtue of all that stuff, we're inspired to be connected globally. I was at the Hairbrain Video Awards in New York City in March and literally had the opportunity to be connected with people from Russia who came to the event because of the Hairbrain community. So again, we have this ability to be on our devices when we want it, have access to information 24/7, and access to the world, the professional world, and each other pretty much nonstop. It's again, extremely cool and exciting. And so because of that, clients are connected all the time. Again, mom, 87 years old. She is on Yelp looking for restaurants. Thankfully, she's been seeing the same hairdresser for 18 years, so she's not looking for a hairdresser. But she is out there looking for things to buy, things to shop on, restaurants to go to. Again, 80 years old, and she's out there being a connected client. And all those things are powered by search. And this is, you know, this is the really interesting part because, you know, all that stuff we just talked about, well, if there was nothing on the other side, you know, of that search bar, if all that content wasn't out there, if there weren't things for us to find, and again, this is Hair Color Chicago, and if I was to do that, which I did on my phone, you know, a whole bunch of resources come up. And of course, you want to be part of that list. You want to be found because if I, the new client who's just arrived in town, is looking for something, that's where I'm going to find it. And because of mobile search, which looks at my location, it understands me as a user, my behavior, and even understands my voice. Again, it just raises the bar and allows pretty much anybody, everybody to access search. Gary, I think you're controlling. There you go. Thank you. And it's all empowered by content, right? So it's, again, it's the other side of search. It's all the content. It's all the stuff that's out there. And content is pretty much anything and everything that any of us put online. In the extreme version, it's a response to a Facebook post. It's the smiley face that I always use when I post anything. And so that is, in its most minimalist form, content. Your website and all the information on it is content. If you build out your profile on your Facebook page, all these things are searchable. All this content is consumable. And the more that you put it out there, the more that you are discoverable, and the more that you have an opportunity to gain new business by way of all the stuff we've just talked about. And then what's exceptionally cool, and I think this stuff is just, it just blows my mind as I watch all these things evolve. Now we have something called crowdsourcing. And crowdsourcing is the ability of all the different tools and platforms that are online to aggregate information in various ways. And it goes back to the old school way, you know, that everybody built their business, which is word of mouth. And crowdsourcing is the online equivalent. Yelp is a word of mouth platform. There's many others. Google reviews, Facebook reviews. Those are word of mouth platforms. People who leave your salons and excited about what you've done with them have the opportunity to talk about it. They have the opportunity to put a selfie on their own Facebook page. And then people like or don't like or respond. And that's a different form of crowdsourcing. But more and more, we depend on the crowd to tell us what to look at, what to pay attention to, because there's so much information. When I get a new phone, which I did recently, I had to figure out how to use it. What I do, I went to YouTube and I put in the name of my phone and how to. Up comes 200, 300 videos. Which one do I look at? Well, I look at the one that in my mind has been crowdsourced. I go to the one with the most number of views and I scroll down the comments to see if they're relevant to what I'm wanting to do and learn. And boom, I have now crowdsourced my way to a tool that's going to make the use of something I've bought or am thinking about buying more useful. That's crowdsourcing. So I'm going to tie this up for you in the salon. So all these things we've talked about, they're an opportunity. Innovation and how those things could be used in salons, they are opportunities to be used in multiple ways. So first and foremost, you have to be connected, be involved to be able to take advantage of the opportunities and to know what the opportunities are. So really, really important to be connected. Understand that there are 24/7 marketing opportunities, word of mouth on steroids, if you will, across social platforms, across digital platforms like email, and across web platforms such as websites. And all of those things, and there's many, many, many. And of course, we have to prioritize. We have to prioritize our time. We have to prioritize our use of tools. We have to work with those things that we find most comfortable, that we feel are best suited to drive our business towards our goals. Data. This is one of my favorites. I love this quote: "Those who harness the data will win." Another one by Peter Drucker would be that which is measured gets done. I love that quote. This is about a measuring stick, measuring tools, and understanding and using data. Going back to the old school, it was Michael Cole, years ago, one of the best business coaches, I think, in the business, and he talked to us about, tracking all kinds of data, tracking your rebooks, tracking your referrals, tracking your recommendations in your retail. And now with apps, and by the way, this is an app, Summit Salon Tracker, which Michael has actually, I believe, partial ownership in. This is free. You can go into the App Store if you have an iPhone and look for Summit Salon Tracker, and it's a scoreboard that you can use on your phone, whether you're an individual stylist, whether you're a salon, whether you're a renter. This is a great tool that's easy to use and allows you to harness the data in a way that lets you elevate your game. Because again, it's all about using measurements to help you make progress. It's making those baby steps, no different than setting a weight to lose weight or to gain speed, or you kind of see where you're at, you kind of set yourself some goals, and then you track your progress. And this is a really, really important tool. E-commerce. When I think about e-commerce, where we are today, there's a lot of controversy on the topic in beauty, I think, but we see this, it's moving forward in many ways, from the salon to the consumer level. But forgetting about that, e-commerce is happening between you and your distributors, between you and your suppliers. So e-commerce is really important. And again, it's an innovation. It's a time saver. You don't necessarily have to go to the store. If you're organized, you're online ordering, the stuff will be delivered to you. Also, I think of online booking as e-commerce. I am a busy guy. I notice that I need a haircut at 6 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. The salon's not open. For me, online booking is an amenity. It's something that people like me appreciate and look for in the salons that we go to, because without it, there's a really good chance that I'm going to get really shaggy, because I'm just not going to notice in my busy life that I need to get a haircut, or I'm not going to come as frequently. So e-commerce, online booking, working with your distributors, putting efficiencies into your life are really important and powerful. And connecting. This is one of the most powerful, because so many people maybe not be into some of the things I talked about. Perhaps you have a full book. Perhaps you're just rocking it. I don't really need to market myself online. I'm taking care of my distributor. I like the way I'm doing things. We can never be too busy to expand our minds. We can never be too busy to learn new things. And there's never been anything as powerful as the online space to allow us to have access to virtually an unlimited amount of information, to learn a crazy amount of people that we connect with and grow because we get to learn them. There's a whole generation of young professionals who are coming up and who are making a difference in the industry, and I know so many of them personally only because I participate online. Again, John Mosley, I'll mention, who I just met for the first time, um, leading barber, great educator, um, does a lot of the sports figures in LA, and is the barber for Kendrick Lamar, who's an amazing hip hop singer. And I happen to be a fan. So I was blown away to meet John in person, and it's because of the connections I've made online and just a little bit of time I've spent with him. I know I'm going to have a lot more connections with him. Never would have happened if it wasn't for these tools. Okay, two more slides and I'm going to wrap up. So, Steve Jobs, responsible for so much of the stuff that we are now aware of, and the founder of Apple, genius of epic proportions. He said that you've got to start with the customer experience and work back towards technology, not the other way around. Genius statement. We always hear about how the experience is everything in the salon, how clients love experience. And so, yes, let's start with the experience. But understand that so much of that experience can be responsible or not to growing your business. Because, again, people have that experience, and now they are taking it out into the world. The more that you are in touch with technology, the more you're in touch with social platforms, so that you can leverage that experience that that client had, leverage that positive feeling to put that word of mouth that's inside that person, inside that client who wants to share. Because we want to, we innately as people, we want to share great experiences. And now people will do it online. So if you're active online, they'll have a reason to do more. You can encourage them to post things that you can repost. So just know that when you start with that customer experience, but have technology in mind and work back towards it, it can make a big difference in your life. And then my last quote, and a favorite quote, Maya Angelou, who so many people miss. She says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I've spent 38 years in this business, and the number of stories I have, it feels like it's almost infinite of how people have made me feel in positive ways and had positive impacts on my life. It's just off the chart. And when I talk with consumers, whether it's people sitting next to me on an airplane, when I tell them what I do and ask them what they think about salons and hairdressers, or friends that I have that talk about their experiences, I know that the people in this industry have made an amazing, amazing impact on the population in general. You really, really touch people in profound ways, and it's really important. And my thought to leave you with is that that's really powerful in a really human way. It's also really powerful in a career and business way. And I hope that you will be aware of both of them. And I hope you will think about innovation and technology and the tools that have been brought to our doorsteps as an industry, and that you will leverage them to have the best life that you can possibly have. Because I know that each and every one of you deserves it. So that is my presentation. We're going to put one more slide up, I think, so you know how to kind of follow us at American Salon. Again, my name is Gordon Miller. I'm a publisher and VP of Integrated Media with American Salon. First and foremost, I'm a member of the professional beauty community. And you can follow me on Instagram personally at Gordon M, only one O, or more importantly, at American_Salon on Instagram. We got Snapchat there. You can follow our stories on YouTube, Facebook. It's just American Salon, and our website, AmericanSalon.com. If you go there, if you haven't been there in a while, you can sign up for our daily newsletter. It's free. It comes to your inbox 5 days a week with all kinds of great stories. And then, of course, our magazine is on the website. There's a digital edition. You can download it in your app. We have the largest number of downloads for any app in the professional beauty industry for a publication, over 50,000. And it's free, and I encourage you to do that. And Mr. Call, and all the members of the community, I thank you for having me. And if there's any questions, I'm good to go.
Thank you, Gordon. Has anybody got any questions? Feel free to type them in and let us know. We would like to thank you. A couple of the people have already typed in thanking you for the information. And to clarify and suggest, one of the websites that Gordon named was hairbrained.me. Gordon, can you talk just a little bit about Hairbrained and how it came to be?
Yeah. Oh yeah, love it. One of my favorites. Hairbrained, founded by Randy Taylor, originally an Aveda educator and a brilliant photographer in the industry, and Gerard Scarpecci. Um, Gerard also he was a Paul Mitchell educator, was an Aveda educator, he then was Nick Arrojo, but they started a community as a spin-off of Facebook. They and a lot of friends, fellow educators in the industry, were in the early days of Facebook, going back 8+ years ago. We're having professional conversations. They'd put up a great photo and have some engagement, and somebody's mom would hop on and say, "Oh, I'm so proud of my son. Look at that great photo." And they said, "Boy, wouldn't it be great if we had a space outside of Facebook where we can really, truly get together with the people who understand and respect what we're doing?" So they started a kind of photo-centric platform on something called Ning that allowed them to have a private community that they opened up to the industry. And over the course of the last 7 years, it has grown into a beast. There's, I believe, over 50,000 members. Membership is free. They have an app. You can go into the iPhone or Android store, and it's hairbrained, again, with an ed.me. There's conversations, there's photos, a couple 100,000 photos, thousands of videos, all created by professionals who are sharing their art. And it really is an artist and craftsman community at the highest level. Smart conversations, smart art, if you will, photography, and you can find them also on Instagram. Hairbrained Official, I believe, is their name on Instagram. So and they're very big on Facebook as well. So I encourage you to be a part of that community as well as this community.
That's great, Gordon. We've had a lot of people thank you, and a lot of people comment that they've been really motivated and they've been really excited about what they've heard. A couple of people have been on Hairbrain since the beginning and loved it. Others just wanted to thank you for taking your time and for spending time with us, Gordon, and we
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
This has been a unique format. It's something we've never done before, and I hope that everybody has enjoyed it and will look forward to being with us again soon. As a reminder, those of you who are watching the recording before the 31st of August, we'll be meeting with Gordon again in a traditional last call format on the color bar at 8:30 Central Time, and we'll be typing questions and typing responses. So look for this recording to pop up on the color bar, and thank you for your participation.